I want to make sure that I accurately represent the general right-wing response to Rob Reiner's horrific murder and his wife, the suspect being their son. Because I criticized a lot of MAGA in the wake of Kirk's assassination for mischaracterizing the broader movement of liberals, anti-Trump people, by the most extreme examples. And so yesterday we looked at, here's the troubling part before I say that. Trump is at the top though. So this is something that they don't seem to be getting through their head when they go, I don't care what Trump said about Rob Reiner because people celebrated Kirk's assassination. It's like you're talking about random people, not the president, not a really powerful Democrat. You're just talking about random and speak out against them, condemn them, fine, but let's get our bearings here. It's a lot different when it's the president, and the fact that you're not willing to condemn him, it makes me not believe that your principles are genuine. But with that being said, I do want to be fair and show you that even Fox hosts were really shocked and horrified by what Trump said, which was blaming, we read the post multiple times yesterday, but saying that Rob Reiner died because he had Trump derangement syndrome. Just sick. It's just sick, and continue to call him deranged in a clip after that. And to their credit, plenty of prominent conservatives justified it, not to their credit, but then plenty of them to their credit spoke out against what Trump said. Here's one example.
His wife being killed in their home in Los Angeles. You have interviewed Rob Reiner before.
Yeah, and I got to know him a little bit, and he, tremendously successful movie actor, director, son of the comedy legend Carl Reiner, and yet there was an everyman quality about him. He hung out at the same Santa Monica restaurants that everybody else did, and he was a mensch, and he spoke out and denounced the murder of Charlie Kirk and had very gracious things to say about his widow, Erica. Now, there's no secret, I sparred with him about this on the air in the first term, that Rob Reiner was a very liberal Democrat who had very strong criticism of President Trump. And yet, I have to say that for the President of the United States to take this family tragedy in which both Reiner and his wife were killed and say that it's because of Trump derangement syndrome, I thought was well beneath him and beneath the office, and I think it would have been better if the president had made no comment.
So, listen, I will play a little more. I appreciate that. I do think it's important. Like, I saw the Scott Jennings being like, no, I didn't like that he said that. And it's like, yeah, okay. At least some of them aren't justifying it. But is that really the reaction you would have had if Joe Biden came out, even as a former president? Or let's use someone who's currently, if Jasmine Crockett, to use an example, someone currently in office, came out and said Charlie Kirk died because he had Biden derangement syndrome and he was just so obsessively opposed to Biden and it caused him to be paranoid. Do you think the reaction would be, yeah, I wouldn't have said that. That's beneath her. Yeah, that I would rather her not. No, it would have been, this is war. They hate you. They want all of you to die. And here, even what I think Howard is his name, said, yeah, it was opposed to what Trump said, but it's like it's beneath Trump in the office of the... Here's the part I wish you could contend with. It's not, though. It is beneath the office of the presidency. It's not beneath Trump. That's exactly where Trump is. That's where he lives. That's where he operates. And if you don't see that with his policies, you don't see that with his day-to-day rhetoric whenever it's not on something this brazen, maybe this brazen comment from him could open your eyes to the fact that it's happening on everything else.
Yeah, Talking Points USA actually posted that clip with Piers Morgan. Take a listen.
Did they mean to say Turning Point? Or is Talking Point USA also an organization? Is Talking Point... Because if he accidentally said Talking Point, that's kind of funny. No? Maybe? I don't know.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable.
Turning Points posting that guy. Meantime, there are Trump supporters out posting criticism. Robbie Starbuck is a conservative a supporter of the president. What happened last night to Rob Reiner and his wife was a savage butchering of 2 human lives. I don't care what their politics were or how they felt about Trump. No law-abiding human deserves this. We should pray for and send condolences to his loved ones and not make it political. Here's Senator John Kennedy.
I don't think the president should have commented. When the president says this kind of stuff, it detracts from his policy achievements and from his agenda.
You see, if that were said about someone that you liked, I know from the president, even imagine after Trump was shot at and didn't die. Imagine if the president at the time, who was Biden, posted, Trump nearly died today because he has Biden derangement syndrome and he's obsessively paranoid about hating me and it's ruined his life. You think the reaction from John Kennedy would be, wow, I think that distracts from Biden's accomplishments. No, it would be much more outraged.
So he's getting pushback, Guy.
As he should. There's a time and a place for politics and for trolling. A man being viciously murdered along with his wife, allegedly at the hand of their own son, is not that time or that place.
So credit to them. They were horrified. Maybe not as horrified as we were. But then let's see Mike Johnson. Let's see if Mike Johnson has anything to say.
Mr. Speaker, do you condemn Trump's post about Rob Reiner?
What are your thoughts about what President Trump said about Rob Reiner at his press conference today?
I don't do ongoing commentary about everything that's said by everybody in government every day.
We are the president of the United States.
We are trying to bring down health care costs for the American people. They're very important.
Well, you're failing very badly on that. So, weird thing. That's a weird way to justify not responding, is to be like, hey, wait, I'm really busy on that thing that we keep not having a plan on. Oh, wait, sorry, I can't comment on something the president of the United States said because we're working really hard on that thing that we keep not having anything to show for. We're working really hard on that homework that we still haven't even completed. So that's Mike's new thing. Oh, no, I don't comment on everything. Why do you want me to comment on everything everyone says in the entire United States of America? Or just the president. That we would settle. You know what? We'll settle just from, maybe you should comment on when Trump tap dances on the grave of people who were brutally murdered. Now, this is something I want to kind of explore with all of you. Less so, I'll probably dive into the substance of this, but more so how I'm trying not to let these things ruin my day. I was in bed last night and bad decision was scrolling through X and saw Roger Stone posted this, and it just made me so mad. And then I started getting upset that I was letting it get me mad because I'm like, who is Roger Stone? Why should I let someone else out on the internet make me this upset here in my own bed? He said, where were the liberals so upset about Trump's post regarding Rob Reiner when Kathy Griffin held up a severed head of Donald Trump? Now, you might notice that he didn't say an effigy. Is that what they're called? Like a little, it was like a portrayal of Trump's head because it wasn't his actual head. You might remember. And I don't know how you post that and not understand how absolutely ridiculous. Was it his real head? Okay, well then why are you comparing it to a real guy who died and his wife? Because guess what? Kathy Griffin, that was in bad taste. That's bad that she did that. Too violence invoking. But she was canceled and blacklisted from the world, polite society, for years. For years. A random actress or comedian was blacklisted from polite society for years because she thought it would be funny to hold up what looked like a bloody cut off head of Trump's. Gross. But she got more punishment for that than Trump mocking a real murder. So I don't even know how he connects those two things in his head. She actually was punished more than Trump's gonna be for this. If you're saying like she was fired from a bunch of jobs and gigs she had, that Trump should be fired from his job, agreed. If that's the comparison you want to make. But I was getting me so mad because I was thinking like, how do you not even see how Kathy Griffin? I mean, I know we know who she is, but like in a general sense, who the hell's Kathy Griffin compared to the President of the United States? And she wasn't even doing a joke about a real person who had been murdered. It was a gross thing about a person who was alive. How do you even compare? Imagine she made the exact same comment about a right-winger who was murdered. Still, it wouldn't make sense to compare her to the President of the United States. But that's not even what she did. And so that was like spiraling in my head and I was getting so irritated. And then again, I came back to, I hope to kind of encourage all of you. Sometimes you just have to go, nope, that's not even worth it. I would say the healthiest thing is, you know, if is for your heart to ache for Reiner's family and his friends, and then he has this legacy that he's left and was this iconic director and actor. And then the case of just horrible statements made about the mass shootings. Similarly, feel the heartbreak and then realize that everything that every lunatic is saying out on the internet is not your responsibility to feel something about. And I'm trying to be better about that. It's tough because I have to look at what everyone's saying to do the show. But at some point, I need to be able to close the computer and say, people are going to be lunatics. I can control that. I can control the person that I am. All of you can control who you are, how you handle certain circumstances, and then see the best in people you actually care about. Because it'll make me lose faith in just the humanity and the rationality of humanity when I see people posting like this. But what is that doing? Is that going to make me more productive? Is that going to make me more happy to spiral and spiral and spiral about how Roger Stone, who's trying to get clicks from right-wingers, is saying something just dumb? No. And all of the worst incentives are present on these platforms. And so we're getting this distorted view, and then it is actually hindering our quality of life. Like last night after I saw this and a bunch of other posts like it, if I had talked to someone right after that, I would have been much more irritable. Like it's actually real. It's not real. It's just something on a screen, and then it is real all of a sudden. And so I really encourage all of you to do what I'm going to try to do more often, which is consume all of this in preparation for the show, but then otherwise realize what I can and can't control. For me, since I do have a platform, I do have some obligation to speak out about these things. But then when I'm done doing that, like go enjoy people's presence. Define humanity by those people as opposed to these people. And then stay in the fight, but don't spiral. Tim Pool did speak out against what Trump said, but then he kind of made a weird apology for it afterwards.
I've heard these stories over and over again, and it was the great Daniel Negreanu, who I referenced recently over things like this with Trump derangement syndrome. It's perfect now that we're in Vegas, because the story he told us on the show was he really believed Trump was all the things they accused him of doing until his buddy actually made him watch the Very Fine People hoax video. And he thought he knew, and that's why he hated Donald Trump, because Trump was doing all these things. He watched the full video finally, and that's when it clicked that Trump never called Nazis fine people. Mm-hmm. He realized he was wrong and opened up the door, and he was like, maybe I'm wrong about some other things too, and started looking into it.
Yeah.
My point is we have to, for a lot of these people, create that opportunity to come over, show them the door, right? And I'll put it like this, guys, to be completely honest, this is actually rather tepid on Trump's part. I don't think he's had anything super egregious.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you had TDS, Trump derangement. I was no fan. It's like, you could be nicer. But it's nothing compared to what the left has been doing. So I still do think we capture a little bit of that. We're nicer.
Sure.
It's just that I think
it's nothing compared to what the left has been doing. Show me. Show me Biden ever saying anything like that about anybody. Ever. Oh, but I saw someone on Twitter. Doesn't matter. I don't characterize your whole movement by the most extreme people on Twitter. I mostly characterize you by Trump, which is the leader of your movement. And if, despite me disagreeing with Biden on things, if you wanted to hold Biden to a really high standard and say that anytime he represented his movement badly, you judge the movement, fine. It's a little different because I wasn't like, I don't think Democrats were as to Biden, like swearing allegiance to Biden as y'all do to Trump. So you have even more association with Trump, but please, this is the other big thing. I've been saying this forever. Now people are getting it, but we are going to drive ourselves insane if we keep characterizing an entire side of the country by the most extreme randos online. We're going to go insane. And that's what people do. And are there times where I probably show you extreme examples of MAGA that aren't necessarily representative of everyone? Yeah. I used to go to rallies. I used to talk to people. All those people aren't necessarily representative of the average MAGA person. But I make a really big effort to specify when I'm not saying this is everyone, but here's a funny example. And how often are we talking about Trump specifically on this show? Constantly. How often are right-wing shows really fairly characterizing liberals by their leaders? Less often. But then some people on the left mischaracterize the other side, but I'm just saying all I can control is what I do, and we don't do that. And if more people don't hold themselves to that principle, to focus a little bit more on who's relevant so that we don't all just believe that the other half of the country is the most extreme version, then we're going to go crazy. And it should make you think that I don't have to show you more extreme people than Trump to tell you that your movement's extreme. And he's the leader of it, so that's pretty fair, I think, is to focus on him. And he's the president. Now, you also have this reporting now on a different issue.
4.6 is probably the number moving the needle right now.
This is the highest unemployment since September of 2021. Carol, you've got
This is the highest unemployment since September of 2021. Since I showed you Tim there. Hey, Tim!
This is why Luke Beasley won't come.
You remember whenever you said this? Because I said unemployment was going up?
That's massive. Because what this means is Trump's tariffs have created a barrier, so it's harder for U.S. companies to buy cheap Chinese labor. More likely to result in Americans building up industry. We're not going to get the direct impact right away, but we need to build industry in the United States. Luke, you are so ignorant on this issue, and you are wrong. Come back and debate in the culture war. What's going on? But we've tried rebooking this guy. He won't do it.
Unemployment. So you can't go, oh, did we put it on the homepage yet? No, we got to put it on the homepage. I plugged it in a segment. On the homepage now of the YouTube video is my coverage of Tim Pool's video, if you missed this. But just in case you're curious, if you didn't see that, why Tim Pool is saying, I won't come back on the show. What I said in that segment you can go watch is I went on 3 different times. Much to the chagrin of my staff. Okay, it's a lot of work to go do this, and we miss our own show, and we gotta travel, and 3 times. And he's like, "You think he's a coward? You're crazy, bruh."
Culture war. What's going on? But we've tried rebooking this guy. He won't do it.
Unemployment ticking up,
Except for 3
employment
times.
He's completely wrong.
Getting worse. That's all an impact of him slapping these features.
I'm completely wrong. I'm completely wrong, he says. Unemployment rate rises, signaling weakness in the economy. Oh, Tim, what are we going to do? Look at this. Aha! Interesting. Look at this. What happened over here?
Interesting.
Weird. So, Jaden, can you help me with this? There seems to be all of this time where you see this black line, the x-axis, to quote Michael Scott. You see the x-axis, there's this black line, and the blue never goes under the black until over here, all of a sudden, the blue starts going under the black. What does that mean? So weird. I thought I was, yeah, whatever. You get it. Bits over. Job gains of 64,000 in November exceeded expectations, but only partially offset the loss of 100. It's a bad time when 64,000 is exceeding expectations. Okay, because expectations, see, bing, 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 bing. Under
Bing,
Biden,
bing,
we're much higher.
bong, bong, bing, bing,
Hey,
bing.
nice. Exceeding expectations, but only partially offset the loss of 100,000 jobs in October. Those losses are the sharpest since the COVID pandemic era recession. Okay, so now Cole, ready? You get your mic ready. I'm going to ask you a trivia question. Who was president the last time we lost jobs in a month? And was that the same person who's president when we lost jobs the next time?
Donald Trump.
Ah! Bingo! Cole gets a bonus. Jaden's like, what the hell, man? You're always asking me the hard questions and then the easy questions to Cole. Yeah, so if you'll notice, all through Biden's presidency, we never lost jobs. But at the end of Trump's, because of the pandemic, we lost jobs. And now at the beginning of him, now there's no pandemic, there is more job loss. And then job gains this month, but it was slow, and then we lost jobs in October. You can see there, and lost jobs in these other months, and that's bad. That is bad, and the unemployment rate ticked up to 4.6%, the highest since 2021, since we were getting out of the pandemic. So just a lot of these propagandists are being silly and goofy and dishonest, and I'm just not going to let it bother me anymore. You know, we have a life to live. Just here's my plan for you, okay? Get off TikTok, get off Instagram, except for to go like. I almost barfed. Except for to go watch or like, you know, your friends' posts whenever they announce they're getting married. Like, you can do that, but don't be scrolling. I would say read a book, but like, watch movies maybe. In this day and age, watching a movie is like really intellectual. So do that if you want entertainment, or TV shows even are fine. Just stop with the TikTok. It's like giving people real brain damage.
This is TikTok.
And then you know what? Just don't worry about watching too much YouTube except for this show. Maybe we'll just say, watch this show. Let's just do it this way. Ready? Watch this show and then do a bunch of healthy things. And then like, don't worry about the other stuff. It's kind of the pyramid of joy that I think we need to create here. No, read a lot of news as opposed to looking on Twitter. Keep up with news outlets, get the big items, and then watch a few shows you like, but don't go down a crazy rabbit hole on these platforms. Honestly, YouTube's a lot better. It's more, I'm talking about like X, TikTok. You'll just scroll, and it's just the worst and the worst and the worst. And then maybe that'll help us all a little bit, because I'm feeling crazy. I'm such a happy guy, but there's a lot of days where I wake up and I don't know why I'm so gloomy. And it's because of this. It's because of this sludge that we have to deal with every day. But you all make it better. I appreciate that. Make sure to get the bonus show by clicking the join button below. Much love, and I'll talk to you all next time.